Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, very good morning, Priya. Thank you so much for joining us and taking out your time from your very busy schedule. We
Thank you
thank
so much, Bhakti, for having me.
we thank you for being a part of Executive Voices, where we're calling all the executive leaders to be a part of this podcast and share their journey, their challenges, and how are they navigating through the challenges. So, since we created a women leadership program, we were like, let's not just do a program. Let's also have women leaders on board, and let's see what challenges have they gone through and how are they navigating through it. And that's when Arshna recommended your name because you're also a very inspiring woman with everything they're doing. With that, I would love to introduce you to our audience. Priyadarshini
You.
Prabhu. She is a People Solutions Director at Baker Tilly, where she oversees talent strategy and manages employee life cycle from hire to retire. Her role involves shaping exceptional experiences for a group professionals in accounting and professional services domain and developing an employee-led organizational brand. With over 18 years of experience in human resources, Priya has worked with organizations such as Infosys, Novo Nordisk, Connectivity, and Eli Lilly. Her background includes areas like talent acquisition, organization development, rewards, learning and development, talent management, and employee communication. Her work focuses on implementing HR strategies that leverage global diversity and team empowerment, fostering communication and inclusion at the workplace. She is committed to maintaining clear communication channels and supporting accountability at all levels. She continues her passion towards leadership coaching and helping people grow and advance their careers. That's very sweet of you. Priya also loves to travel to new places and visit museums to learn about history and immerse in local cultural experiences. She's been to over 20 countries and considers herself as a global citizen. She's also an avid reader who makes it a point to complete at least one book per month. She aspires to be an author and share her own stories with the world someday. That's a lot in one.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I almost didn't recognize myself here in your lovely introduction. Thank you, Bhakti, for making me sound so good.
It's all your work, I'm sure. Can you let us know that when you say you are a people solution director, what is it that you exactly do?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Often HR gets a very bad rep, because people think you do a lot of the compliance work and the policy related work, but it's so much more than that. As a people solutions director, I am responsible for managing, engaging, developing, and executing on the people agenda for the firm. As all of us know, people form the very core of our business. If somebody says people are not their core asset, I would be very surprised because today we are in the people game, right? We are not in the services game or a product game. It's the people that make it happen. So as a people solutions director, I look for various talent strategies that help engage and develop our talent in order to achieve our business goals. So this includes things right from recruiting, workforce planning, learning and development, where we engage with firms like yours, um, a lot of rewards, benefits, policy making, exits even. Exits no more are a very sad part. The world is but a small globe, and we are going to cross work paths again. So really looking at lasting, scalable talent strategies is part of my core job description.
That is actually, that sounds a lot like I don't know how do you do it. But then was there a defining moment that inspired you to enter the world of HR and leadership?
That's a very good question because I must tell you, I was doing my CA as luck would have it and would attend the grueling classes. I'm sure you'll remember those from your time as well.
Yes.
From the time I was very young, I've been an extreme extrovert. You see, I'd love to talk to people. There was a standing joke in my family and my friends that Priya will talk to a tree, if there's nobody around. So as I was doing the CA course, I realized that I got my energy elsewhere. I cleared my foundation and I said, this is not what I want to do. Uh, I wanted to solve challenges for people, and I was part of a fusion band in college where. It was a very eclectic experience. You got to interact with a whole set of diverse individuals with so talent, so much talent in them. I went to B school thinking I will major in finance. Right. As I learned more about myself, I didn't see myself continuing down on that road. because I was more interested in the business of people rather than the business of business itself.
Yeah.
So for all the mandatory courses that we had in the first year of B school, I was so interested in that my classmates actually decided to have me teach them because I had a way of simplifying and talking about it. Somebody told me early on in my career that you should explain things to people as if you're talking to a 6-year-old. So that's really stuck with me. Less is more, simple is best. So the more diverse the group, the better the learning. So in all the festivals, and going back to the band example, that all the festivals and the music arenas that I participated in, there was so much energy that I got and so much learning that I received from those experiences that I had. And as I started to take all these psychometric assessments, tests, and such, I tested better for intuitive, creative roles with a mix of data and numbers. So I'm an accountant by training, but I'm an HR person by heart, And so that has been my sweet spot. Each experience from there on out, I've been fortunate enough to be guided by the best managers and leaders who have shaped my career. So really starting from right from my childhood, from leveraging what my strengths were and making that a part of my journey in life. They say if you really enjoy what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. So I think I'm really made for this job.
I can tell. I think you had your calling right from when you were pursuing CA, and then you again went to the B school, but your calling came very early on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the
100%.
more I talk to you, Priya, you really sound very empathetic. So I can tell you were made like to, work with humans and yes, work with people. And also
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, also you worked around cultures and traveled to over 20 countries. So how has interacting with leaders from different geographies influenced your leadership perspective?
We don't nearly talk about this enough.
Hmm.
There is a skill important today, which is the cross-cultural intelligence. You see, we have to realize that we don't work in a vacuum. India is not the epicenter of the world, right? We work with so many countries. And, I'm based in Bangalore, which is the Silicon Valley of India. So there is that cross-cultural intelligence that one has to develop. What works in one culture doesn't work in the other. So really that patience and that ability to look beyond, like what they say, a frog in the well syndrome, so look beyond the well. I think that has given a whole new perspective, right? It also, traveling to various cultures also helps you discover yourself. Who is Bhakti, or who is Priya? What do they like? What takes them on? What takes them off? What takes the people in that culture that you're interacting with? In that interaction comes the learning. You see? So for me, the cultural intelligence, the high degree of self-awareness, and the third piece, which is, I think, culturally very naturally to us in India, adaptability. We're able to get on with the times and be adaptable to whichever situation you put in. That is because we deal with so much of chaos and so much of dynamism on a daily basis, right? So I think as I travel to various countries and people have different degrees of adaptability, I realized where the strengths lie for us as a culture and where those development areas lie. So it's been an eye-opening and enriching experience. If I can give you a few examples.
Yes, please.
In the second year of corporate experience, I was seconded to UK for a project. I was based in London. And that first experience just opened me up to the kaleidoscope of the world. You see, the work culture, the environment, the policies, they're similar yet different. They're nuanced for the culture or the geography that the firm is located in. So in this experience, I was so lucky in the first 10 years of my career to have work experiences in UK, in Denmark, in Germany, in the US. I think that has influenced me to become who I am today. Simple examples of, whether you're based anywhere in the world, the focus on family, work-life integration continues to be a universal theme. It's not specific to a particular country. I'll give you an example. We were rolling out our campus program in the UK for the first time, and the staff and the resources were short. Obviously, you're not going to have, 20 people traveling from India. We were like 2 or 3. I remember the leader of our team, he brought around the branding material and giveaways and campus swag. Now, ideally speaking, you can hire a vendor to do this.
Yeah.
and we took a train from London to Bristol. I still remember this, 5 a.m. in the morning. Must have been at least 70 kgs with the standees and with the giveaways and the swag. At that moment, I realized your title just doesn't matter. Whether you're the leader of the team, whether you are, I mean, he was my first boss, and he was like, let's lift this up and let's take it on the train with us. The roll up your sleeves and get down to brass tacks brand of leadership will never go out of style. That's the key learning I've had. Leaders who are unafraid of challenges, who will stand with or behind their people in times of success, not only in times of success, but more in times of conflict or challenges. Those are the ones that matter, and those are key. So this was one experience. The second experience is, I remember when I was traveling to, when I was part of a Danish firm, I had to take a session on feedback, on how to provide feedback cross-culturally. And I remember my heart beating fast as I addressed the group, being the only Indian in the room, to a group full of Danes and other Europeans, and how that landed. The feedback I received was, it was a great session, but speak slowly. Less is more. From then on, I've made a conscious effort not to ramble on. So I keep my answers as succinct as possible and move on from there. So I hope this helps paint a picture of my experience.
Yes, it does. What I can tell is, of course, being exposed to the whole global cross culture not only makes you very much open-minded, but like you said, we accept everything. How you also accepted your boss. He was doing everything possible, like lifting weights, and like he did not care what the designation is. So I can tell how much the cross culture changes you so much, changes your whole perspective. And like you said, the frog in the well syndrome. That's very well said.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see how, how that one experience changes you as a professional, So from then on out, I've always been open to trying out new things, saying yes to the experience, because that's been really valuable as I navigated my career.
Okay. And while things are changing rapidly in the business landscape, so what is your approach to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, see, that is that's an interesting question. Today, staying ahead of the curve is become very cliche or passe. There is no such thing of staying ahead of the curve. If you were to ask me, I will say we have to be in tune with the environment. We have to, we have to focus on a very deliberate strategy. It's like a game of chess, right? It's not about doing everything because just because everybody else is doing it, but thinking 5 steps ahead, being intentional of what makes sense for your business. So that's something that I think that's very important. And I think a lot of firms forget that, forget about strategic minimalism, what I call, like less is more, right? Focus on the essentials, like a gardener tending to a few strong plants, but not chasing every seed that comes in the market. We have to focus on what is important and essential. Today, in the era of information overload, what happens is everything becomes urgent, everything becomes important. So we forget what is the core and what is the need of the business. And that is why the whole being ahead of the curve for me, I would rate this the topmost, which is a strategic minimalism. Focus on 2 things or 3 things, but make those the things that matter. The things that matter to business, the things that add value to the business as well as the people.
You are sounding very passionate. And I think your passion it's bringing a lot of clarity on cut down what the social media or everything that wants to get out of you. Focus on, yes, the minimalism and the quintessential is what I can take away from this.
True.
So while we're speaking of technology, I would like to ask you this question that with AI entering the HR and leadership space, how do you see technology helping leaders make more effective people decisions?
AI can imitate our words and actions, okay, but not our meaning, our purpose, or compassion, right? You did use that word about empathy earlier on. Yes, AI is getting smarter, but I'd like to believe there are certain human things which are truly human, right? So how can technology help? One, and more importantly, is on having those data-driven talent insights. So far, we do very I mean, at least in the past 20 years or so, I've seen this part evolve quite a lot. I would say that earlier we would focus on very reactive reporting. Okay. So, which is what has already happened, we're reporting on that. Now it's more data driven talent insights. Okay. So, if we have this data, what can it mean for us now? How can we analyze it predictively for the future? So, that's one reason, one way that technology can help. And that I think is an important piece because it informs the talent decisions that you're taking in line with the business for the future. One. Second is personalized development, right? Today, you and I know that we are tending to an audience of one person, meaning that if we can't offer one size fit all approach for all learning needs. We have a multi-generational workforce. Attention spans are going down. So it's important to look at what makes sense for a particular individual. What do they want to learn? How do they want to learn it? And here's where technology can play a big part, right? So the other day I was speaking to an employee and they said, Priya, we don't, why are we doing these full day sessions? Why can't you just give us bite-sized modules? We'll read through it and maybe we can have a discussion over a lunch or over a cup of coffee. I thought that was inspired because it's really here employees are giving us feedback saying, hey, I want to learn, but I want to learn on my own terms. I want to learn with the tools that are available to me, namely technology, namely some courses which are available online. And then I want the opportunity to be able to discuss it. So technology is an enabler, if I were to call it that. And the third one is a more tactical one, but it's an important one, which is with technology, we're spending lesser time on admin tasks and more time on actually the value adding tasks or value adding conversations that we need to have. Today, I don't sit and, look at goal sheets anymore.
Okay.
So those are managed through a system. Those are reviewed on a XYZ on a quarterly basis. So those are certain administrative tasks. Performance reviews are online. Performance reviews are more dynamic today. So I think admin tasks, the amount of time we're spending on admin tasks has considerably come down. Let's take example of recruiting. When I joined the workforce 20 years ago, we were doing a lot of things physically in person, taking tests in, physically with pen and paper, so on and so forth. And today it's become, it's all proctored testing, assessments, the whole recruiting landscape itself has changed in order to leverage technology right from identifying the job description to the offer and the post-offer process until the person joins, till the onboarding. So I think technology has played a very pivotal role in ensuring that the employee or the candidate has a very good experience.
I like how you're showing a very balanced approach where, yes, technology has helped you, but also you have used it very wisely and in a regulated manner.
Sure.
Yeah. And of course, well, you are the one taking the shots, which is very essential.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I would like to discuss conflict. Like conflict is a natural part of organizational life. So how do you approach resolving conflict in a way that strengthens relationship? And coming like from you, I really want to know, you're such a people person. So how do you tactfully deal with conflicts?
So conflict is a part of life, right? I mean, whether it's at home, whether it's with your friends, family, at the workplace, and it's different, you're bringing your whole authentic self to work. There's a very interesting model which I learned very early on in my B school days. It was called Thomas Kilmann's conflict resolution model, and so basically it's a 2x2 scale, where on one scale is the cooperativeness, meaning consideration for others' concerns, and on one scale is the assertiveness, meaning one's pursuit of their own concerns. So own concerns versus other concerns. And so this model really breaks it down into 5 main conflict resolution styles that typically most individuals tend to default to. So you and I will have top 2 preferred conflict resolution styles. And when you think about it, you can find yourself defaulting to these 1 or 2 conflict resolution styles. So let me break it down for you. Okay. So for the first one is a competing style of conflict resolution, which means high assertiveness and low cooperativeness, where you're pursuing your own interest in the expense of others. So this is not preferred, but it's very useful in urgent, high stakes situation, crisis situation, where you have to take a decision and take it fast. So we don't have time to build consensus and say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Time is of the essence. So one person, the leader, has to be super assertive, and there is no scope for being super cooperative at that point of time. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is around accommodating. That is low assertiveness and high cooperativeness, where you're putting others' concerns first, sometimes at your own personal cost. You would have heard people saying, okay, do what you think is right. Right? This is helpful for preserving harmony, or when you don't care much about the issue. Like, okay, this doesn't impact me that much. Do whatever you think is right. For example, okay, let's go out for a team event or a team engagement day. A person who doesn't have too much interest will say, okay, do whatever you want, whatever works best for the team. You would have heard that happen, right? The third one is not preferred, but a lot of us default to this, is the avoiding style of conflict, which is low assertiveness, low cooperativeness. This is evading the conflict altogether, thinking that if we evade it, it's going to fix itself, right? This is helpful. The avoidance method of conflict is helpful when people are very emotionally charged, or you need some time to cool off and then come back. But it's not a very positive conflict resolution style, because it doesn't address anything. Right?
It's very avoidant.
It pushes it out to a lady. You're passing on the problem. Right? The fourth one is collaborating, and this one is the preferred one, because it's high assertiveness, high cooperativeness, because it's seeking a win-win solution that satisfies both the people. It is ideal for complex conflicts, and let's be honest, complex conflicts will not get done within one conversation, right? It requires it's an iterative process. It takes time, right? Last one is compromising, where there's moderate assertiveness and moderate cooperativeness. It's like a falling for a middle ground, like neither mine nor yours, let's do this. Useful when some practical solutions are needed. Like let's assume that you and your partner are discussing where to go for a holiday. You want the beach, they want the mountain, and then you compromise for something midway.
Something hilly.
So that, absolutely. Some people may also argue any relationship is a compromise. So you know what I'm talking about. There is some amount of give and take. So these are the 5 conflict modes or resolution styles: competing, accommodating, avoiding, collaborating, and compromising. So typically there is no single conflict style which is very effective and you should always default to this. Nothing like that. It depends on the importance of the issue. What is the relationship dynamic, whether there is a time constraint, whether there is a willingness, and also what is the culture of the ecosystem that you are operating in. So typically, although collaborating kind of conflict resolution is preferred, it depends on the situation, and a person may choose any one of those. So typically, I default to the collaborating or sometimes the compromising kind of conflict resolution styles. I hope this helps your audience in understanding how to manage.
I love how you broke it down. This feels like a crash course. Thank you so much.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, you're welcome.
I'll talk a little bit now about negotiation. I love your whole take on conflict. Let's try to know a little bit on negotiation. As while many organizations, the employees are their biggest asset, how do you think companies can move beyond words to leverage their people truly?
So I think sometimes as millennial or earlier generation leaders, right, boomer leaders, we get caught up in our times, we had it tougher, almost making it seem that the person in front of you has to have the exact same experience as we have had, right? That is where I think we as leaders falter a little bit. Because, I think to leverage people truly, one has to listen in deeply. Listening is a very, very important. There are organization constraints, but today's generation, today's workforce wants to be involved as possible. So wherever possible, involve people in decision making, be open, be transparent. And today, because the good part of the information being available, I think, at least for us as a culture, Bhakti, has become that all of us want to understand the why these days. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why is there a policy like this? Why is the guideline set up in this manner? Why are we offering this as a benefit? So explaining the why is so important as an employee, as we want to engage with employees, and that's how we're able to leverage people truly. In my view, there is no sense in holding information anymore because there's so much out there. There is, people are way smarter than any of us are. Each generation is progressively smarter. So being able to listen in, being able to explain the why, and involving people in decision making is the way I think we can leverage our teams.
Make them also feel important, like listen to them. And I think that's the way how, yes, we can even work collaboratively.
Absolutely. Listening doesn't mean that we have to agree with everything that people are saying. Those are
Right.
two separate conversations. Listening is actually acknowledging that the person in the room has a point of view, which may be different from ours, but acknowledging that there is a different point of view and taking cognizance of those, I think that's very crucial.
I agree. I'm also curious about one thing. You give so much of your energy with your work, with people around, to understand them, to empathize them. So, what systems and boundaries do you have to manage your energies across a leader or as a parent, as a partner? And how do you conserve your energy while doing so much?
I must confess, I'm not too good at that, but I do try.
Hmm.
One thing is compression time. On Saturday mornings is my sacrosanct time. Please don't bother me. Please don't
Hmm.
call me. Weekends, especially on Saturday mornings, I need time to decompress. Okay. I'm a very early morning person. So I go for morning walks or I do an exercise at 5 a.m. in the morning when it's early dusk or early dawn. Um, the third part is debriefing the day with my spouse, with my partner. It works both ways.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a lawyer also helps. So it's a very important part of my day, and it works both ways for us. And of course, the last part is setting boundaries. That's a game changer. I'll give an example. I spend the day at office. I go home at around 4:35, and that 5 to 6:30 time is sacrosanct because I'm getting dinner ready and I have my house helps coming and all of that. And so that is the time that I debrief my day with my husband. We talk about what has happened, what is the plan for the next day, so on and so forth. So setting that boundary is very important because both of us have calls in the night. So the days have become very flexed right now, right? You don't have a fixed timing. It's not a 9 to 6 job anymore. So really looking at putting aside times of the day for yourself and for that me time is super important. And of course, I take a vacation or a short trip to my favorite place in the whole wide world, which is Goa, every 4 months.
Goa, okay. And of course, you're a global citizen, you love to travel. So I could guess that travel is one of your rejuvenation source.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
I
we start with Goa and then, one country a year.
Okay, I think with that, I want to know a little bit more about you on a personal level. So I'm gonna ask you some that
Obviously.
question.
Sure.
Yeah. So are you an early riser or a night owl? I think you already gave it away. You're an early riser.
Really nice one.
Yes. Unlimited coffee or unlimited Wi-Fi?
Unlimited Wi-Fi.
Risk taker or rule follower?
Risk taker.
Morning strategy meets or evening catch-ups?
Morning strategy meals.
Okay. Music while working or silence, please?
Silence, please.
Okay. Write it down or mental notes?
Write it down.
Always hungry or always sleepy?
Always hungry.
Pizza forever or French fries forever?
Oh gosh, neither of the above. I'm a South Indian girl, so idli forever or dosa forever.
Oh, then okay, then let me ask you a question. Idli or medu vada?
Idli.
Idli. Ooh.
Yeah, I like idli.
Standing meetings or sitting meetings?
Depends on the mood, but I prefer standing meetings.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way, of course, to stop sitting all day.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one last question. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what's your most used app on your phone?
LinkedIn.
That is so corporate like.
No, or in a non-corporate setup, I use this app for ordering food.
Zomato,
Uh,
Swiggy?
it's no, no. I mean, ordering groceries. I would say it's called Milk
Okay.
Basket. So I keep. I mean, my husband's like, why is there like a delivery every morning? I'm like, I forgot something. So that's the Milk Basket is the most used app on my phone.
Okay, it's been so lovely interacting with you. I really don't want to stop because like you have so much more to offer and so much more to share. But we will have to close it. And with my closing, I want to ask one last question is what advice would you like to give women leaders who often feel torn between personal responsibilities and professional ambitions?
Today, I will give this advice to all leaders, women, men, and all other gender types. You know, your boundary is your own. No one can take that away from you. Set it up for yourself. Make decisions and have conversations with your family, with your partner. There will be times when sometimes personal priorities take focus, and other times when professional priorities are front and center. One thing I will advise, let us not make the mistake of thinking that we are our titles and we are our jobs. We are
Yeah.
much more than that. You know, discovering ourselves as people, discovering yourself as a person, and the professional will follow. It's not the other way around. If you don't discover the person that you are and then expect to discover the professional, that will not happen. For women leaders, we can't think of ourselves as a minority or a statistic. In a boardroom or a meeting, you're judged by your value and not by your gender. I strongly believe that. Still date, I have never had to explain my gender in any room because I believe that I add value. So that would be my advice. Don't be a statistic, add value.
Thank you so much. This has been a very, very interesting conversation.
Thank you, Bhakti. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure talking to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much. And for our viewers, please, if you like the episode, please share it and please share what Priya has to offer. She's given so many insightful key takeaways for all the viewers. And please stay tuned for more podcasts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Priya, for your time.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You too.